Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia. Welcome back to the fifth match of our Group B gameplay here in round 1, as we have Peanuts versus Zero. This will be the final match for today, and probably one of the more interesting matches here in Group B, as Peanuts and Zero are one of the more experienced players in this group, and both seems to be on top of their games after their first matchup today. So let's take a look at their comp. And if we look at the Peanut on the green side, it's very similar to the composition he ran in his first game with Yuan Shao, Sun Jian, and Huang Fusong, except for this time Sun Jian's being subbed out for Lu Bu, still bringing in 3 shot cavalry. And the other change we have here, instead of 2 crossbowmen, there's now an archer unit. And of course this archer unit's used for fire arrows here, even though crossbow damage is still pretty decent, but with the trees in the middle, that would come in handy. Then on Zero's side, we have a completely different thematic comp. First time we had the Ladies of the South with Sun Ren, Xiao Qiao, Da Qiao. This time we have the love triangle of Dong Zhuo, Lu Bu, and Diao Chan. And the unit choices are kind of wild as well. So they are 4 Camp Crushers and 2 Protector Heaven. These are the core units of this comp, basically premium infantry. And then we have 8 units of the Raider Cav, which are really cheap. And I'm not sure if that's going to work very nicely into Peanuts comp here, because there are those 5G infantry plus the 2 Defender of Earth, especially Defender of the Defender of the Empire, not Defender of Earth, but Defender of Empire are unbreakable spear units, and these cavalry are just going to have a bad time against those. They also don't do well into crossbowmen or archers, and they are not as good as the cavalry that's brought by Peanuts. So that matchup is going to be quite interesting. The general's going to have to win out and then help out the cavalry situation. Imperial Lancer is going to be a nightmare situation to deal with for these units. I'm sure not even 3 of them, 2 of them can probably beat all 8 of these here in a direct matchup, just because the morale difference is going to be a big impact, especially with Yuan Shao also helping out, boosting with Distant Courage. But everything's up in the air, and Diao Chan still has her, I think, Heavenly Beauty ability, which kind of frees generals and units in place, just enemies for a very short time. We have a big window to attack them, and we'll see if that happens. And let's take a look at deployment. So hopping here, we can see that Zero has opted to deploy right behind the deployment zone of Peanuts, and I think this is to help his infantry close the gap, because even though they're premium infantry, the Camp Crushers has no range block chance, and the Protector Heaven just has 35%, so they're not good at defending against range. Getting close and try to close this gap from behind is probably the best option. But a direct charge into this is going to be very difficult because of the cavalry difference. There's a couple of the Peasant Raiders and Raider Cav in front that's going to have to come back to catch up. Diao Chan has her Stifling Deluge, no Wisdom River, has a 1-use Heavenly Grace, not Heavenly Beauty, my bad. But essentially it's a combination of Immobilize plus a little bit of the Wisdom River effect, but only 15 seconds. So this is kind of dangerous. You want to use this really well and make sure you're on foot already with your other generals and just go in there and kill the enemy general. They can't run away. That would work really well. It would also combine decently well with Lu Bu's Dragon's Gaze. You shut down the enemy units far away so they can't interfere, and then you shut down the enemy general with Heavenly Grace, and then you kill the enemy generals. But it's a 1-use only, and you better get value there. It doesn't, help afterwards at all. Dong Zhuo has many little ability that can come in handy. Blade Breaker, once he's below 50, he gets the armor boost, but he's also likely to rout, especially if the units rout. Only Lu Bu's Unbreakable. I have a feeling that once these units start to crater, especially the cavalry, the army loss might become a pretty big factor in this fight. We'll see how that goes, because if not, Dong Zhuo and Lu Bu are the ones with the smash abilities, and perhaps they can be used to kind of carry the day. Let's see how this goes. I expect a pretty aggressive rush. If you're deploying behind like that, you want to close that gap ASAP. Range units got flipped over very quickly. Cavalry being positioned. Lu Bu can be used to stall. You can go up and Dragon Gaze some of these infantry just to give yourself more time. There's a lot of spear units to kind of box in these crossbowmen. They got to scatter pretty far. And if you scatter them, I think the Lancers are going to have a fun time hunting them down. Although I think last match, when Peanut had these Imperial Lancers, they weren't really used aggressively. So we'll see if they get thrown in there, especially with the general posturing here. This is free target, no range. Should just go for it. I think this is just to position the distant courage at the maximum value. These are still hidden, I believe, so that could catch them by surprise. The Yellow Dragon needs to be protected here as well. They're the only thing that's probably vulnerable to the cavalry charge. Even then, I don't think the Raider Cav charge is that devastating. Once you get shot, they're not gonna look good. The general is the one taking the aggro there, testing out the range. See if auto fire is on. And they have bumped into that group. General's going to help. This could be Zero's chance to just dive into here, see if they can do some damage. Give up on this group here. It's 4v3, similar quality. Lu Bu's gonna break that balance. But this is still a tough fight, even if this works. Like, Raider Cav suicide into... I mean, they're not countercharging, so at least you get some free charge damage, but that's about it. They can loop even harder here to try to get behind. They have to get through the gap here. Let's see if Huang Fusong gets a shot off. Lu Bu obviously helps and kill those. Heavenly Grace used right away. Dismount, dismount, dismount. They can't move. They gotta kill Yuan Shao for good value here. Gotta at least kill one. 15 seconds is really short. Oh, he's dying so fast without evasion. But that's it. That's the one use. That's the one use. I'm not sure if that's good enough, and these are not getting micro to kill him. At the same time, they're also not getting micro to charge up. You can see the crossbow shredding these 0% range block chance. Camp Crushers. They're trying to clean out the Lancers, which is a good move because these Imperial Lancers are going to be a problem in the future. Lu Bu's coming back in. They should just stay dismounted and just kill Lu Bu here. I think they're trying to mount again. They don't want to get charged by the cavalry, but that might be a bad idea. The animation for that remount, it's probably not going to be worth it. Lu Bu... Okay, so they all get back on their horse. I'm guessing they're going to be charging out. Looks like a hail of arrow coming in, perhaps. The quality of the cavalry is just too different. And then we get the generals back together. A dismount again. After... Wait, did he not mount? These two dismounted, but Dong Zhuo didn't mount. Or didn't dismount. They're going to kill the Yellow Dragons to make sure they don't kill the infantry. That's the one premium infantry they do have. They can probably kill Huang Fusong if he gets stuck in here. I mean, their infantry is better quality, so once they do crash, it's fine. I still don't see a single use of Hail of Arrow yet. These cavalry have not been micro back. They're trying to use the infantry to carry the day. These defenders are going to hold forever. No one's killing this crossbow right now. All the generals are helping their infantry. Hail of Arrow here? Yeah, I think we're going to see it here. Decent damage on Delchan, decent damage on the infantry. These two Camp Crushers. Having no range protection on Camp Crushers, it's really rough. Alright, the crossbow's done. We're down to 2 Camp Crushers here. Yeah, 2 here, and then 1 Protector left. All very injured. Let's see if they can take out Lu Bu here. Infantry comes in. The cavalry are still very fresh. There's this group of cavalry that's not being micro this entire time. Charging in with the cavalry. Delchan's probably going to be done after this charge if it lands mostly on her. A temporary unbreakable through the ability that Dong Zhuo uses. They can't catch onto them. I think the ability usage on just Yuan Shao is a bit difficult here. Now they're just getting cycle charges on Lu Bu, which is really good. You don't want to approach them when they're dismounted. You know, a lot of time people think dismounting your generals just kind of seals the win. Sure, but if you micro your generals properly, if you don't dismount, don't give them a chance to chase, and have units swarm them when they're dismounted, it's a death sentence for the enemy generals too. But once you do get them clumped up, you need to get some damage. Just don't stall, and the rest of the fight will be fine. Still not microing those units. Not that it will make a huge difference, but Dong Zhuo is about to rout because he's not unbreakable at this point. That ability has been expired. It's going to be just Lu Bu versus the world. And the world has scattered, giving some room to Lu Bu. And we can now look at things like Hail of Arrow usage, perhaps, or Cycle Charging, giving him some unbreakable units to fight. So it's definitely not whoever dismount first just wins. It's a lot of micro involved with the other side. You know, if you ignore your generals, let those dismounted generals kill them, then that's totally on you. Being bumped around here with the charges, that's exactly how you want to play it. The cavalry finally come back, too little too late. Lu Bu is dead, and the surrender is in. So a very good match. Having those infantry camp crushers, they really didn't bring a lot of value. Very expensive. A huge group of them got killed by the crossbow over here. And then once the armies commenced, both sides' generals had a huge impact on those fights. Yellow Dragon getting wiped by abilities, a lot of camp crushers getting wiped by abilities. The hail of arrows shot through. The cavalry difference, quality of unit difference came through. Delchan with a very powerful ability, but only able to use it on Yuan Shao. I think if you got 2 generals killed in that one ability, especially you want to kill the damage general, I think Lu Bu should have been the first target, if not Huang Fusong. Yuan Shao should have probably been the last target, because in the unit versus unit fights, Peanuts units were way better anyways. So in that regard, his units were going to have high morale for the cavalry portion at least. The infantry went a different story. The infantry didn't really matter in this case. The defenders were unbreakable anyways. So removing the distant courage doesn't really help you that much. But if you remove the 2 damage sources from Huang Fusong and from Lu Bu, then just leaving Yuan Shao there doesn't hurt you at all, and you can come back and kill him slowly, or at least just chase him, and then that distant courage goes away, and then your generals can be the only ones helping the units and kind of evening the score. So a little bit of target selection problem with the Heavenly Grace, given that you only get 1 shot at it. Aside from that, well-played match overall. Definitely some forgotten units here and there by both sides, but still a very good match. And looking at the damages, I think it's pretty much as expected. The Lancers didn't do that much. The Defender of Empire is probably the better unit in this case, being unbreakable. The Generals did an outsized role, got a really good hail of arrows off from Huang Fusong later on, even though early on I was hoping to see one, but didn't get to see it until quite late. I think part of that has to do with Delchan with the Siphoning Deluge. Another part is that they ran off to fight those cavalry early on. Still a little bit indecision with those Imperial Lancers. I feel like they could have done way more if they just actively charged in the beginning instead of getting charged on. That would have been better for them. And the ability usage, Yuan Shao just dying early on. I think he got 1 kill off of cavalry, but that's about it. Those camp crushers, they did damage. You killed those the infantry, you killed a lot of the Defender of Empire, but a lot of them also got picked off by range, and those range units, just a few, adds quite a bit of value as you kind of have to play around that. That's sort of like having a siege weapon against the AI. You kind of have to find ways, or the AI has to find ways to get to you. And then for you to get to those range unit, it's going to be very costly when your cavalry options are so cheap. Perhaps a slightly more expensive cavalry option would have been slightly better, but then you wouldn't have so many. The problem really comes in Camp Crusher. It's not really a good unit for its value. They're just better options. But when you go with 2 Vanguard Generals and 1 Strategist, as you can see, the Protectors were on the Strategist. It's not ideal. So in this case, maybe a little bit more range, a little bit premium quality cavalry might have been slightly better. Anyways, it's really nice to see Zero try these theme comp so far, 2 for 2 with the theme comp, and we'll see the standings after day 1. So after our 5 matches here today in the first half of Group B, our standings are Peanuts with a 2-0 victory, 11 minutes and 26 seconds. K9 the Young Wolf, another newcomer, coming out strong with another 2-0 start with 14 minutes 36 seconds for his 2 wins, so right behind Peanuts. And they will have their matchup against each other in day 2. Zero still has a chance to come back if he wins out, and he will get the 3-1 record and whatever time he has. I think he does have a super long win against Storm's End, as he took 15 minutes, I believe, to get that win against Storm's End early on. And then Jedikars and Storm's End start day 1 with a slump, 0-2 starts. Very tough matches against the other 3, with experienced players such as Peanuts and Zero, and also Upstart in K9 the Young Wolf, and we'll see how this plays out tomorrow with these 5 matches. So hopefully I'll see you guys then. Until then, bye!